Westmoreland Community Connections is a presentation of Citizens Fiber.
Welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. Here now is your host, Jennifer Miele, Chief Communications Officer and Managing Director of Evangelization of the Diocese of Greensburg.
Hello and welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections, only on WHJB. I'm your host today, Jennifer Miele. I'm the Chief Communications Officer and Managing Director of Evangelization at the Diocese of Greensburg, and very happy to have with me a longtime friend. Notice I don't say old friend, a longtime friend of mine, Laurie Barnett Levine. She is the Chief Executive Officer of Mental Health America of Southwestern Pennsylvania. Laurie, I'm so happy that you could join us today to talk a little bit about mental health during this international health crisis. Thanks for being here.
And thank you so much for having me this morning. I appreciate it.
So today, I wanted to start off by talking a little bit about you. Tell us about where you grew up, what your education was like, and how you ended up in the mental health field.
Actually, I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I have always been fascinated by the human mind. So unlike most people, from the time I think I was in high school, I always knew that I was interested in psychology, sociology, and mental health. So it's been a lifelong goal of mine. And I came to the University of Pittsburgh to study psychology and ended up also with a degree in social work and went on to get my master's degree in social work. And I started out working in the field of mental health. And it was fascinating to me. I was a direct care worker, but I thought that I could do the most good serving in an administrative role to be able to make systemic changes. And so for decades, I worked in a mental health center, but was always very involved with our national organization and the local organization, Mental Health America. And so when this job became available in what was then Westmoreland County, I jumped at the opportunity to apply. And I was happy that I was selected because I thought to myself, how can I convince the board that I am the applicant? This is my dream job. And so I've been working at Mental Health America for over 15 years. And the organization at that time was actually the Mental Health Association of Westmoreland County. And we are an affiliate of a national organization called Mental Health America. And our organization changed its name so that we could enjoy the branding with a national organization. And then when the MHA in Allegheny County closed, we felt that it was important that there be representation of a Mental Health America in all of southwestern Pennsylvania. And so we are the only Mental Health America west of Harrisburg, although there are some mental health associations in the western part of the state, but we are the only one that's affiliated with the national organization. And especially in times like this, during this international pandemic, I think it's really helpful for us to be part of that national organization.
What excellent detail and what excellent career that you've had. And we're so glad that you're on with us today. And of course, you bring up what we really all should be talking about, and that is mental health during the pandemic. In just a few minutes, we're going to start talking about mental health during the holidays and how challenging that can be. But let's talk about a little bit what you've seen during the pandemic, the fear, the anxiety, the stress, and really probably exacerbating already existing mental health conditions. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen.
Well, first, I'd like to share that our tagline is that there's no health without mental health, because we think that mental health is an integral part of your overall health. And we're working our organization to try to decrease the stigmatization that occurs when people are experiencing mental health issues, that it's not your fault, it's not a character flaw, that these are true illnesses, they can become chemical imbalances, many are treatable with medication. And so what we're seeing during this pandemic is everything is changing for people. Things that they could count on, ways of life that were familiar to them, are gone, especially now during the holiday season. Things that were traditions are no longer available to them. And so often when there is a crisis, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And right now, with this pandemic, we really don't know when the end is. And so we're just living in constant uncertainty. Everything is changing. Many people have lost their jobs. Family members have become ill. Businesses have closed. People are also engaging in social isolation because of the term social distancing, which is really physical distancing. And so humans don't have that opportunity for that human connection. And so we're really seeing that this has had a tremendous impact on people's mental health. The CDC and our national organization have found that there is over a 30% increase in people experiencing stress and anxiety. Our national organization had created years ago evidence-based screens for mental health issues like stress, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. And those screens are available on our website, mhaswpa.org. So you can take this anonymous self-screen and you can see where you fall on the continuum if you really are experiencing stress and anxiety. But we have really, there is evidence that this is really occurring in our society now, and that the things that people are really experiencing is this fear of the unknown. When's it going to end? Yes, there will be treatments for this, but will they be effective? How will they make me feel? What will, when will I be able to get treatment? There's this tremendous fear, anxiety, and feelings of isolation.
And your organization is there to connect people with resources as well, correct?
Yes. And so that's, one of the things I mentioned, our website. There's resources on our website. We actually have what's called we call her a community advocate, but this is an individual that can assist people in connecting with services in the community. And I have to say, sometimes I feel like we're the best kept secret because all of our services are free. We're very fortunate through fundraising and through some government funding to be able to have these services. We do outreach into the community. I also want to raise the issue about suicide and suicide awareness.
Yes.
And we're part of an important group called the Ray of Hope, and it's Westmoreland County Suicide Awareness and Prevention Task Force. And there is some evidence that during a pandemic, that following the pandemic or in the later stages of the pandemic, that suicide rates increase. And so we want to get the word out to say that it's okay to not be okay. And if you're not feeling okay, that it's important to talk to someone and to ask for help. And sometimes also people are afraid to ask someone, are you thinking about hurting yourself? Because they're afraid if they say it, then it's going to cause that person to do it. So we have a free training that we offer through the Ray of Hope and Mental Health America, where it's like a 2 or 3 hour training where we can talk to people and teach people how to talk to other people that they think might be experiencing suicidal thoughts. We also have a free support group for individuals who lost loved ones to suicide. And in addition to that, we have support groups. They're all virtual right now, and they're going on for people who are experiencing anxiety, depression. One of the groups that's particularly at risk of completing suicide is the LGBTQ population. And so we have a special support group right now, virtual, going on for those individuals. And all that information, again, can be found on our website because it's really important right now. It's always important, but it's even more important now to make those human connections. And one thing that we are fortunate to have is this virtual opportunity to be able to talk to people over Zoom. But if you attend these support groups and you don't want to go on camera, you can also dial in and have more anonymity. All the groups are confidential, so that we do have a variety of services that are free to individuals in the community.
That's really wonderful information. I also want to talk for a minute about the transition to virtual support groups, the transition to online resources, and how did MHA navigate through that? The IT sector, and how did the people that you support migrate to that?
Well, we as an organization have always been very fortunate that we've had even though we're very small, we've always had state-of-the-art IT, so that we purchased iPads, laptops for staff so that they could work remotely. We do have people in the office, but it's very spaced out for safety. We purchased cell phones for staff who didn't have them, so staff could dial in, get their messages, call people, so that we were just ready to go. Within like a month, we were ready to go.
That's
and
amazing.
I think that for the community, though, I know in traveling throughout southwestern Pennsylvania, areas of Westmoreland County, there are places where you really can't get a cell signal. So, or you may have one or two bars. In those situations, it's very hard for those individuals to access help.
Oh, for sure. And that makes it even more complicated to serve everyone that you need to serve. I find myself as, running communications for a large and complex organization, just streaming, religious resources isn't enough, right? And we're turning to broadcast, we're turning to radio, we're turning to, many different avenues to try to assist people. But I have seen a lot of people successfully make the jump to the virtual world. And fortunately, Mental Health America does have that opportunity here in southwestern Pennsylvania to provide those support groups, especially through this pandemic. I'm talking right now to Laurie Barnett Levine. She is the Chief Executive Officer of Mental Health America of southwestern Pennsylvania. She's briefing us today on the transition through COVID-19 and what MHA resources are available. And I think she said it best, the best kept secret, because all of your resources are free. But that also presents a challenge in itself, because you are constantly fundraising. You are constantly looking for support for mental health resources. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, for example, the things that I do, the public education piece, and also the public education outside of Westmoreland County is not funded, so that we have to raise funds in order to be able to do that, to be able to go out into the community. The other thing that we do is we advocate for additional funding, for example, through the state budget, talking to legislators, both local and national, about the importance of continuing to fund mental health services. We have talked to the chambers of commerce. We do lunch and learns for businesses, and all those services are free and they're unpaid for. So that's another important reason why we do fundraising. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is because of COVID, there was, the mental health system was just about to adapt and begin telepsychiatry, telehealth. And COVID kind of forced that to happen. And that has been very successful. Many individuals prefer, particularly adults, prefer the opportunity to do things virtually. And in communities like Westmoreland County that are very spread out, if people don't have transportation, that can become a barrier. So telehealth and telepsychiatry has really, as telemedicine, has really taken off because of the pandemic. It might be like a silver lining. And there's been opportunities for providers to be able to get payment for that. And so organizations like ours have really advocated for these things to make help more accessible to people, and to go out and to educate the public that having a mental health issue is like having a physical health issue. If you had diabetes, you wouldn't say just get over it. You wouldn't, wait until it got out of control before you sought treatment. You would get treatment early. And the same thing is true for mental health. If you're experiencing, stress, anxiety, depression, where it's really interfering with your life, it's okay to talk about that. You can talk about it with your primary care physician. You can talk about it with your spiritual leader. Talk about it with your friends and family, and get the help and support that you need. And those are the kinds of things that we do that are not funded. And we talk about that within the community and on shows like this. So thank you, Jennifer.
Well, I'm so happy that you're here, and that brings us to our halfway point. You are listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB.
This is Westmoreland Community Connections on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. If you have a suggestion for a topic, or if your nonprofit organization would like to be featured on this program, call us during regular business hours at 724-216-1200.
Westmoreland Community Connections is a presentation of Citizens Fiber.
Welcome back to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB. My name is Jennifer Miele. I'm happy to be your host today. Joining me is the Chief Executive Officer of Mental Health America of Southwestern Pennsylvania, Laurie Barnett Levine. Laurie, we're glad to have you on the show today because so many important things are happening with mental health, particularly in the middle of the pandemic. And recently, we were just talking about the support needed, the financial support, the government support needed to fund a lot of the resources that MHA provides. And, one of your big fundraisers every year is the one opportunity that you and I get to see each other in person, which, I think I've been coming to since it may be 15 years. It may be since you started the annual dinner for MHA. And this year has posed quite a challenge for you on that. So no fundraiser, no public fundraisers. Is that right?
Well, actually, we did. We were very fortunate because of our virtual platform. We were able to, the event is called Innovations. Yes. And we honor people who are innovators within the community. And this year we were very fortunate. We were able to have sponsors to support the organization, and we went virtual. We thought we were going to have the event in April, and then we thought we would plan and be safer having it in June. But little did we know that not only were we not going to have the event in June, but the venue where we had the event was closing and actually was never going to open again, unfortunately. And so at that point, we realized that we would have to be virtual. So we had a virtual fundraiser in June. But it was an auction. We had, auction items and opportunities for people to purchase things and sponsor. But we really had these individuals within the community that we wanted to honor. And so we devised a way that we could honor those individuals virtually. And so we were able to honor special programs like the Fred Rogers Center for their work in the community. We were able to honor a reporter for the Latrobe Bulletin who really has worked very hard to highlight mental health in the community and mental health programs. We honored Jewish Family and Community Services for the work that they did following the Tree of Life shooting. So we were able to honor these important individuals, people, volunteers in the community, and we did it virtually. We used our own platform. We had them pre-record their acceptance speeches, and I was able to deliver them virtually. And if you really want to see them, they're going to be on our website at mhaswpa.org. And we were fortunate at our annual meeting to also have the CEO, president of the national organization, Mental Health America, speak virtually. And so that too is about to be placed on our website so that people can hear him talk about the national trends, what's going on during COVID, and what we found in terms of the screenings that people have been taking, and again, the importance of mental health. And all those programs are free, but they take money to produce. And so that's why the fundraising that we do is very important. And there's also opportunities if listeners want to donate to the organization, they can donate through our website. They can also, we have a Facebook page, same name, and they can have the opportunity to donate to the organization so that we can continue to reach out to the public and inform them of the importance of mental health. And, we get calls from individuals, from families who have family members that are distraught and they don't know what to do and how can they find help and where can they go. And I want to mention that there is a national suicide hotline that is available for anyone to call. And there's also, it's 1-800-273-TALK. And if you're a veteran and you press number 1, you will be having the opportunity to speak to a veteran. And now also there is the opportunity to text, because some individuals find it easier, more anonymous to text. So there is also a crisis line where people can text, and they can actually, if they text the letters PA to 741-741, they can have the opportunity to speak, to text with someone, so that is anonymous. And locally, I wanted to tell you that there is also a mobile crisis program in Westmoreland County, and they answer 24/7, as do these other numbers. And they can actually go out to your home or to wherever you are, and they can talk to the person who might be in crisis. And that number is 800-836-6010. So there are these resources for people that are experiencing mental health crises. And again, it's okay to not be okay. And the important thing is that you reach out and that you seek help.
How did you do on your virtual fundraiser?
We did okay. We were really pleased that the community came out and supported us. And we had some really great auction items, jewelry, purses, gift certificates, because we started early this year. And we solicited gifts and donations from the community before the pandemic. So we were able to have things available. But also during the pandemic, people were very generous to us. And so we were able to auction those items off. And sponsors were very supportive of us, like yourself. And we really appreciated that opportunity to be able to raise money in the middle of a pandemic. And that also gave us the opportunity to raise awareness. We also do things like we have a conference every year, and we have tremendous lineup of professional speakers. We offer continuing education credits for that. And through the Ray of Hope, they also offer a conference every year, which in the past have been free to the public. And that conference focuses on suicide and suicide awareness.
That is just wonderful information. And I'm glad you did well, because you're an organization that certainly deserves it. And with the holidays, sort of being in the middle of the holiday season right now, holiday blues is something that I just wanted to bring up, if that's okay with you, because
sure.
COVID-19, again, what I said before, exacerbates the situation, which I think you detailed very well, is a lot of the traditions that we're used to are falling by the wayside. It's creating change. It's creating anxiety and stress for people, possibly having lost a loved one, and the stress that comes with the holidays. And what resources and what can you offer people through the MHA?
Well, it's really timely, that we're having this discussion. Right now, you're hearing, all over the media, don't get together, stay apart. Stay safe, observe, social distancing, talk to your family members over Zoom, don't travel. And these are all holiday traditions, where families gather, they get together. Human beings are social animals. And we really depend on that. We depend on that for our mental health, which also impacts our physical health. So that now, I mean, for people generally, lots of people experience the holiday blues because the holidays don't live up to their expectations. They don't remind them of the wonderful childhood times or family times that they had. Some people in quote normal times, whatever that is now, are alone, or they may not have that extended family that they used to have. They may have lost a loved one. And that's very difficult for them to be thinking about that during the holidays. Those feelings are exacerbated. But now that's even intensified. The holidays have become a bittersweet time. It's no one can really have the large family gatherings that they used to have. They're actually fearful that they could die or that they could like kill grandma, so though the people that they love, they're not able to be with. Even family members who might have someone in an assisted living facility, a nursing home, they're fearful of even being able to visit them. So that the holiday blues, I think, are really intensified right now because people are having a tremendous feelings of social isolation. And so I really don't want to talk about that without talking about ways that we can help ourselves during this time, if that's okay. So some of the things are, we recommend actually distancing yourself somewhat from the media so that you're not constantly watching how many people have died, how many people are sick, how many positive cases there are, all of the political issues that are going on in our society. These can become very stressful, anxiety producing, the racial unrest in our country. So I'm not saying you should never watch the news, but what I'm saying is that you should limit your exposure to the media. And that includes your online exposure, And I think when people feel isolated, they tend to use the media and social media as a way to make themselves feel not so alone. But by doing that, they could be increasing their stress and anxiety. And so we tell people try not to catastrophize, try not to think about the worst case scenarios and worrying. Focus on problem solving. How can I do what I need to do right now? How can I do that better? How can I succeed? The importance of rest and diet. So this is where your physical health and your mental health come into play because what you eat, your ability to sleep, that all impacts your mental health. So we tell people make sure that you're getting adequate rest, not too much rest. Don't stay in bed all day. Eat good food. Try to have a balanced diet, exercise. I know that's another thing about the holidays. It's getting cold out. So like when it's 30 degrees, you really don't want to go for a walk like you did in the summer. But if you have a nice day where it's sunny and you can get outside or you can be in a room where there's sunshine, do that. Look outside. Go for a short walk if you have to outside. Those things actually help your body produce hormones that improve your mental health. So that's, again, the physical and mental health interplay. Try to keep things as normal as possible. Develop a routine for yourself and try to follow that routine. And another thing that's really very helpful, and we're recording this during Thanksgiving, is to give thanks. And the ability to practice gratitude improves your mental health. So every day, try to think of something that you're grateful for as you're going through your daily routine. Think about the positive. Think about the things that you're doing where you can be grateful for, things that you do have instead of focusing on the things that you don't have. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. This is very stressful for everyone. And so it's the little things that you can do to be kind to others that can really make a difference in that person's day, in that person's week. And we say that also if you feel like things are snowballing out of control, no pun intended with all snow, but, reach out for help. It's okay. Talk to a family member, talk to a spiritual leader, talk to a mental health professional. we find that when you're experiencing stress and anxiety, the thing that can help people a lot is to reach out to another significant person, someone who they can talk to, someone who will understand them. And if you don't have that person in your life, again, I mentioned the places that you can call where you can have someone to talk to that will help you to get help. So I hope that some of those things people find helpful to them.
That is so nice. Great job today, Laurie Barnett Levine. She's the CEO of Mental Health America of Southwestern Pennsylvania, and you're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB.
This has been Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings in and around Westmoreland County. Join us again next week on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB.
Westmoreland Community Connections is a presentation of Citizens Fiber.